Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. Good to be back with you again today on this beautiful Thursday. So glad to have you with me yesterday. We had a great conversation yesterday. The feedback from what we produced yesterday was was really incredible. It really was. And I want to thank every listener that I've got, every person that shares these with friends. I've tried to continually to remind myself to always make them shareable because more and more people are doing that. When I first started making it simple, it was for one reason and one reason only. The understanding of things is so necessary. We live in a very confusing world. The reason I say that is because we're bombarded with 1,000 different messages from every walk of life. You know, we're dealing with so much right now societally that tells us what to do, where to go, who to like, who to not like, what to follow, what to listen to. And after a while, a lot of people are really overwhelmed because regardless of which avenue you seem to desire to travel, somebody's going to get mad about it. When Jesus was speaking to this group, I left you yesterday with the clarity of what he said. He said, the flesh profits nothing. I want us to focus on that for just a minute. We're going to go back and kind of build back off of that to move into our lesson for today. The flesh profits you nothing. Now, what is he saying there? No matter what you do in this life, no matter what, we're not talking about rights and wrongs. The pursuit, I believe, the pursuit of dreams and visions and what have you is a good thing. We should do that. Whether it's to be an athlete, whether it's to be, airplane pilot, a baseball player, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It may not be to do any of those things. It may be to be a stay-home mom. That's commendable too. Everything in that respect as a pursuit, a dream, all those things are great, beautiful. However, what value do we place on those things? In other words, do we allow that to be our core, our foundational principle, that everything that we do relies only on that? Because at the end of the day, as the Lord here says, that will not profit you anything. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that, again, that it's pointless, that it's not worth our time? No. The word profit means gain. And in this respect, what he's speaking of is eternal. The consuming of the living bread that he's been speaking on, that he's trying to get this group to understand, that he's trying to get everybody to understand today, is essential for understanding life. Life in and of itself is temporary. We've talked about that. That's not gloom and doom. That's not morbid. That is real. I just spoke to you yesterday, coming back from having a service for a dear friend. It's only been 4 months ago. I had a service for my sister. Death is real. I'm sitting here right now, literally waiting on a family to come into my office to do the funeral for their loved one on Monday or whatever day they choose. It's real. It says on average that 6,000 people, 6,000 per day, die in the United States. That's just here, just in the United States, every day. That number may be higher right now, but on average, it's about 6,000 a day. What Christ is trying to get everyone to understand is that what you do, the flesh, profits, gains you nothing as it pertains to eternity. Those things that we do Be them right, be them wrong, be them good, be them bad, whatever the case, they are what they are. They are of value in that moment or for whatever that span of life is. But at the end of the day, what profits us, what gains us eternity, is this living bread. And that's why he says, the words that I give you, the words that I'm speaking to you, they have life. And that life is that abundant life, that everlasting life that he promises. That is the promise of God. We understand that the days of life are numbered. It tells us that. It says God knows the number of our days. If something is numbered, it has a beginning, it has an end. Again, that does not speak into morbid or to grim. That's just real. One of the goals, maybe the only goal that I've got in making it simple is not only to clarify the teachings of the Bible and the scriptures that are given to us there, and understanding, as I've shared multiple times, the Word of God is Jesus. Let us understand what He is teaching us, is there's reason for it. There's value in it. It is not to establish a particular denomination or a worldwide religion. It has zero to do with that. It is about the eternal principle of understanding this life will come to an end. How it ends matters. But you and I, every person listening, every person you will share this with, we've got say in that. We have the ability to say, no, I don't want that. I want nothing to do with it. God will let you do that. He's giving us the opportunity to receive life and it everlasting. He's not talking about ceasing your life right now. You're sitting there today, maybe listening to this for the first time. Maybe you've had a friend share this with you because they think this message is valuable to you. You say, well, I don't particularly subscribe to that. I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible. I don't believe in God, whatever. You don't have to. But that will not exclude you from the reality that it will come to an end. The question is, are you prepared for that? Most are not. Because, and I don't say that to be arrogant or prideful, most are not. In the book of Proverbs, Solomon recorded that pride goes before destruction. What does that mean? That means I determine what I want it to be, what I want life to be. I can say yes, I can say no. It's my way or no way. That's the world we live in today. We see the world driven by agenda today. You don't like this, you can't like that, you can't like this person, you can't speak to that person. Friends, we've moved into a very, not just dangerous time, but a foolish time. Because what it's done is it's allowing people to have a reason to stop thinking, to stop functioning as one that dictates things in their own realm. Jesus addresses that here. He said, I've given you the opportunity. I've given you the truth. We can almost equate it to a warning label. Let's just use cigarettes. That's just the first one that pops into my mind. And this is not to condemn a smoker or not. That's your choice. But the warning label says, if you use this product, it may cause cancer. It may cause emphysema. It may cause this, that, whatever the case. Same way with chewing tobacco or any of the vices that we have in this life. May cause an addiction. All these different things. We can adhere to that warning label and leave that product right on the shelf, or we can forego it and consume it. Take of it, smoke on it, whatever you want to do. You can do that. He's saying here, I'm offering you the truth. You can accept that truth. You can reject that truth. You have the free choice of that. You don't have to adhere to the warning label. However, that doesn't make the consequence go away. You can't smoke the cigarette and get the cancer and get mad. You can't. Not now. I know years ago, it was the big deal and the lawsuits and all this stuff like that because, well, the at least the idea that was sold was we didn't know that it would hurt us. I wrestle with that simply for the fact that if you light something on fire and draw that smoke into your body, you can't possibly think it would be good for you. I mean, it's no different than, drinking a bottle of acid or something and wondering why you got a stomach ache. However, that's everybody's own choice. But the point is now, it is known, it is factual, it will harm you. And so if you do it, you know that. Jesus here loves us enough to give us the truth. The truth. We wrestle with that in today's world as well because people don't like reality. They like reality TV because that's entertainment. Not stopping to realize that's not real. That's scripted. They're told what to say, where to stand, what to wear, all that stuff. That's another show. But reality that says, this is the truth. Do with it what you will. Beware of the dog. He will bite you if you put your hand over the fence. Well, I'll take my chances. Okay, you can do that. Read the warning label. Oh, that won't happen to me. I'm going to do it my way. Okay, you can do that. He's saying here, take of this living bread. It has life in it. Reject the living bread. You'll continue to be alive, but you'll have no life in you. Many around us are consumed today by anger and hatred and all the different things that are just fueled by the things on media and the internet and on so and on so. But friends, that's not who God made us to be. And we don't live well in that stuff. We don't. We've got to learn to let that stuff go and find spirit and life, because the flesh profits us nothing. You live your life in that. Mad, angry, bitter, unforgiving. You live your life and it does not end well. Because you didn't profit anything in life at all. You didn't enjoy life. You didn't live. You were alive. That's it. But you didn't live. Jesus is saying the flesh will profit you nothing. That which you do of your own is temporary. That again is not to say that you can't enjoy things or that you don't pursue dreams and live a fulfilled life, but let it end well. I shared with you yesterday, my friend that passed away that I was at his service on Tuesday. When he went to sleep on Wednesday night, it was not his intention to never wake up. He had no idea that that would be the way that it went. However, he was prepared in that if that day were to ever occur, it was okay from an eternal standpoint, barring the grief and sadness of the ones that will be left behind. The security in that comes from our acceptance of the truth that is offered to us. Will you take of the living bread or not? I talk about that consistently on here and making it simple. Why? Because there's nothing more important. It doesn't matter what you're pursuing today. An acting career, a secretary career, a pastor's career, a baseball player, a guy that works at the sanitation department. I don't care. That doesn't matter. The value that you place on that is important as it pertains to understanding its nature, temporary or eternal. Am I basing my whole being on that? Or is that just part of who I am? But my foundation and my principles and my complete ability to live is based on the fact that I am secure, that I have accepted the living bread. I have accepted the invitation from Christ to live and have Him at the head of my ship. That's really what it comes down to. And that is a singular message here and making it simple. Because again, friends, many people that I deal with, my work is about dealing with people and their problems, their issues, their grief, their broken homes, all this, all this, all this. I deal with it every day. And I don't say that in a uh, unkind way or anything else. That's just reality of what I do. I get to see into people's lives. I've been blessed to be able to do what I do for all these years. I was blessed before this to be a police officer to see the reality of grief and pain. In the midst of all of that and all of these years, I found the answer. His name is Jesus. Now, someone that is not a believer today may scoff at that and say, oh, that's that religion stuff again. No, it's not. It's got nothing to do with religion. Friends, do you realize that it was the religious leaders that killed Jesus? Stop and think about that for a minute. The religious leaders of the time were pursuant of this man named Jesus Christ because they did not agree with what he said. Because he said, I'm come to give you truth, and that truth will make you free. They didn't want you to be free. They wanted you under bondage. They wanted you to do what they told you to do. They wanted you to live how they told you to live. That's what Jesus said. He said, love God and love one another. That is not giving a free will excuse to go out and do whatever you want. By no means is that what that means at all. We're to live for God and honor God in the way that we live. However, if we choose not to, we have that freedom as well. We don't have to read the warning label. We don't have to adhere to the warning label. That doesn't take away the consequence. And we need to understand that. He says the flesh will profit you nothing. But what I tell you, that is filled with spirit and with life. He goes on to say, now there's some of you here that will not believe. There's some of you here that are going to say no. In other words, your mind's made up. Nobody's going to tell me different. I'm going to do it my way, no matter what. You can do that. You can ignore the warning label. You absolutely have that right. And God's not going to make you. That's the beauty of free will. That's the beauty of being a human being. You have the ability to say no. I don't want that. What you don't have the ability to do is stop the result of that choice. I'm gonna not read this warning label. I'm not going to adhere to what it says. I'm going to do it anyhow. You're not going to stop the consequences that come from that, whatever they may be. You don't have that control. I'm not going to read that beware of dog sign. That's foolishness. You don't have to. But when you get bit, that's on you. Jesus says here, here's the answer. Do with it what you will. That's my plea to everybody. It's not about preaching at you. It's not about religion. It's not about anything to do with any of that. This is about the reality of life and the answers that we're given. What are you going to do with them? He says here, what you do will profit you nothing as it pertains to eternity. And eternity's coming. That's real. My friend Dell that just passed away, my sister that passed away, and all the others before them and those that are to come, including me and you. That's reality. Being ready for that moment is not about sitting and planning it out, or not about sitting in a corner worrying to death that today might be the day. Being ready is living the life that God gave you and doing it so abundantly and giving Him glory for every day and thanking Him for every breath and living in a way that makes it better for you and everybody else. But always just being ready. Always. Whether you go to sleep like my friend Dell and never wake up, whether you get in a car wreck on the way home, or whether you go to the doctor's office tomorrow and say, well, you got cancer and you got 2 weeks. This is not about the how. This is not about the if, because there is no if, it's when. But the point of it is you can be ready. All you got to do is say, yes, Lord, I want this living bread that you offer. He says, I know there's some of you that won't believe. I know there's some of you who will. I know who they are. That's already been not determined. It's been determined by the one who says yes or no. You're not made to do either one. He goes on and he says here, no one's going to come that doesn't want to. No one's going to come that doesn't feel that urge and that pull and that call. And your call, again, that's not about being a pastor. Call is who God called you to be. Make the best of that. But always remember, the flesh, the things that you do, the things that you're in control of will profit you nothing. Don't base your eternity on that. It is only the gift of God that we have eternal life. And he closes this part out in verse 66. And he says that many of his disciples, those that were following and listening, we're not talking about exclusively the 12 disciples that we hear about, but it says many of those that were following and listening, they left. They went back to their own way and they walked with him no more. In other words, they didn't want to be told this. They didn't want to deal with reality. They didn't want to hear the truth. They wanted it their way and only their way. Friends, we have that freedom. We have that ability. We are faced today with things that most of us in our lifetimes and our generations have never been faced with. I've never seen the hatred and the anger and the ugliness ever in my life that I see right now. There's always been societal issues. Always. People groups, wealth status, all those different things. Go back to what we talked about before in the lesson with the woman at the well. She was told by society, you are lower class than this particular group. You are a Samaritan, they're Jews, you don't talk to each other because you're not good enough to talk to them. You're lower class. And now we add to the fact you've been married 5 times, you've had a wreck of a personal life, you're trash. That's what society was saying. Jesus comes along. She says, why are you talking to me? We're not supposed to be doing that. And his answer was basically said, who came up with that? That's dumb. I can talk to anybody I want to. And why wouldn't I talk to you? I've got the answer you need. Friends, we've got the answer that everybody around us needs. That is why I do this program 5 days a week, is because I've got the answer. And I don't say that arrogantly. I don't say that pridefully. I say that because I've lived in this life long enough to finally figure it out. And once you have the answer, to not share it is to hoard it. And there's an unlimited supply of God's grace. I want everybody to hear this truth. I want everybody to be set free. Friends, remember this. The flesh will profit you nothing. Nothing. As it pertains to eternity. It is only Christ and Him crucified and what He did for you over 2,000 years ago and the living bread that He offers you today that will give you life and it eternal. I hope you know Him today. I hope you know Him today. Those, when presented with the truth that tells us, walked away. They didn't want to hear that. Many today are confused because truth seems to be hard to find in our world of 1,000 different versions and 31 different flavors. With God, it's very clear. It's yes or no. I sure hope you tell Him yes today. If any of this is confusing to you or you've got a question, please call me, write me, email me, message me, whatever the method is that you've got the ability to do, contact me and I'll be more than happy to try to help you figure it out. God bless you. It's such an honor to talk to you every day. It is an honor to do these messages. I'm so excited about the people we're reaching. Please share this with a friend. And if any way at all I can be there to help you, I'm here. It is my honor and pleasure to serve with you and alongside you in our journey as we look to the days ahead and we understand spirit and life is what God offers and it's what we should all want for us and those that we love. God bless you. I hope you have an awesome rest of the day, and Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Making It Simple.